All right, so get ready because today we are taking a deep dive into something truly unique. It's called the Angel Songbook, and it's a collection of stories and songs all about angels, but not your typical angel stuff.
Oh, definitely not your average angel choir.
No, not at all. It's a little out there, you know, like the kind of book that makes you go, "Hold on, what did I just read?"
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get that. It definitely has that effect.
it does. For starters, this book was published back in 1982, and it claims to be a collection of messages like straight from a place called the Angelic Embassy.
It's like, well, they describe it as this kind of hub, this cosmic grand central station. But for angels,
Okay, I'm picturing it. Lots of angels coming and going.
right, and they've got a lot to say about us humans. Like a lot.
So we're talking angels, but not the harp playing kind, right?
Harks. Unless they're in a band, maybe.
This book throws us right into the deep end with Angels Anonymous. Angels in a support group.
Yeah, Angels Anonymous.
What?
It's a thing, at least according to this book. They describe these gatherings on Paradise Street
Paradise Street.
in a converted bowling alley,
Yeah.
of all places.
A bowling alley.
Yeah, so you've got angels and bowling pins. It's quite a picture. It's almost like divine intervention meets a self-help group where angels are there to, just support each other.
Like they need support too.
Well, yeah, the book suggests some are totally aware that they are angels and some are just figuring things out.
So some angels don't even know they're angels.
Right. And it's all written with this sense of humor, like the angels are kind of winking at us the whole time.
I like that. So it's not just angels helping each other, right? There's this story about a young guy who stumbles into one of these meetings totally by accident. Doesn't know anything about angels.
Right. Totally clueless.
But when he walks out, he's got this newfound awareness and maybe even wings, who knows? Talk about finding your purpose in unexpected places, a bowling alley.
That's the thing about this book. It really gets at this idea of potential,
Yeah.
We all have it. We just need a little push sometimes, even if it comes from a group of angels in a bowling alley.
It makes you wonder, are there Angels Anonymous meetings happening all around us? We just don't know about it.
It's a fun thought.
It is. Maybe it's not literal, you know? Maybe it's a metaphor for those times when we get that unexpected advice or guidance, something that just shifts our perspective.
Totally. And it ties into this idea of the angelic embassy being this bridge between heaven and earth. Like maybe those connections, those divine interventions are a lot closer than we think.
Okay, so this angelic embassy, it's more than just a meeting place. It's where angels get their, like their instructions,
Yeah.
their tasks.
Yeah, you could say that.
But it's not all delivering messages and, the typical angel stuff. They're cleaning up energetic messes, like cosmic janitors.
I love that image. Like even angels have to deal with the dirty work sometimes.
It's very humbling.
It makes you think about those times in our own lives where we have to face the messy stuff, right? The things that are not so glamorous but help us grow.
Yeah, it's all part of the process. Speaking of challenges, the book also tells this story about Devi Hootie, a fallen angel. But she finds redemption by helping others. It's like a fresh start, and get this, time restarts for her.
That's wild. I mean, it's a powerful concept, right? That even when we stumble, there's always this chance to start over. And even for angels, redemption comes through helping others. It's a good message, don't you think?
It is a good message, and hopeful.
Yeah, very hopeful.
It challenges that whole idea of a fallen angel being lost forever. This book is more compassionate. Even angels need help sometimes.
We all do.
Exactly. And that brings us to this, this hilarious scene of this panangelic conference where they are, get this, organizing the Last Judgment. Can you imagine planning that?
The logistics alone would be mind-boggling.
I know, right? But the book makes it funny. Like, God forgets about the previous judgments and gets annoyed about being left out of the planning.
It's like they're saying, even the divine can be a little relatable, even a little flawed.
It definitely humanizes the whole idea of God, which I think is kind of refreshing.
It is. And it ties in with the song, Everybody Wants a Piece of God,
Yeah.
where the angels are singing about, well, how hard it is to understand and help us humans.
It's like they're saying, we're trying our best here, but humans are complicated.
It's a moment of shared vulnerability, right? Angels and humans united by the fact that existence is just kind of messy.
I like that. So we're laughing with the angels, but we're also seeing ourselves in their struggles.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about that human element a little more, because this book, it really dives into our quirks and flaws. There's this one song, Chief features the one that really got me thinking. It's about that one dominant personality trait we all have, the one that makes us trip up, make the same mistakes.
The thing you wish you could just, I don't know, snap your fingers and change.
Yes, it's like the book is holding up this mirror and saying, take a good look.
And it's not just about pointing out the bad stuff. It's also offering a way forward. This idea of the fourth way, this path to self-discovery. And it's beautifully described in the song Fourth Way and Away We Go with all these images like the Strait of Faith and Harbor Hope.
Like a map, but for our inner world.
Exactly.
Self-awareness is the first step, right?
Absolutely.
And the imagery in this book, it's so vivid, it stays with you. But the Angel Songbook, it doesn't stop there. It goes full-on mystical, bringing in ideas from Sufism, alchemy.
It's blending these ancient traditions with, modern-day problems and dilemmas. Like, it takes this story, The Conference of the Birds, where each bird represents a flaw that prevents us from reaching enlightenment.
That's a good one.
It's this beautiful allegory, very universal, about how we're all striving for something more.
And then there's that line about the unawakened consciousness being like a serpent sleeping at the base of the spine.
Oh, yeah, that one's a little creepy, but also kind of awesome.
Right. Like we all have this power inside us just waiting to be awakened.
It's potential again, but on a whole other level.
Yeah. Like we are capable of incredible transformation, just like those angels hanging out in that bowling alley.
Who knew angels liked to bowl so much?
Right? Maybe we should all take up bowling.
Maybe that's the secret to enlightenment.
So we've got this potential, this sleeping serpent energy, but how do we actually, wake it up?
Well, that's where the stories and parables in the Angel Songbook become really powerful. They get past all the mental stuff and just speak right to your heart.
Like that one about the village idiot who becomes a master archer. But he does it by, wait for it, drawing the target after he shoots the arrow.
That's classic.
It's hilarious. But also, are we sometimes doing that in our own lives, creating our own targets after the fact to justify our actions?
Oh, for sure. It's like instead of aiming for what we really want, we just make up stories to explain why we missed.
It's a good point. And then there's that story about Jesus walking on water. But the book focuses on Peter, right?
Yeah.
And that moment where he's actually walking on water before he doubts and sinks.
Right. His moment of freedom, they call it. It's like anything feels possible.
And then fear creeps in.
Yeah. But we all have those moments, right, where we glimpse our own potential if we can just, learn to trust that feeling.
It's about taking that leap, even if we might stumble.
Exactly. Okay, so we have to talk about the title chapter. What shall we do with the fallen angel?
Yeah, this one is really interesting.
It's like a challenge, right, to rethink how we view anyone who has made mistakes or strayed from the path. Not just angels, but, people too.
Instead of judgment, the book says we should bring the fallen angel home and, I love this, provide basic training.
Basic training for a fallen angel. What does that even look like? It's a pretty radical idea.
It is. Compassion and rehabilitation, even for those who have, quote unquote, fallen from grace.
And it makes you think, what kind of basic training do we need for our own fallen moments? Those times when we make choices that take us further from who we really are.
Yeah, it's a good question. Instead of beating ourselves up, what if we were more compassionate? Those mistakes are opportunities to learn.
Exactly. And that's why this book is so powerful. It's not just about angels and, all this mystical stuff. It's a different way of looking at being human.
More forgiving.
Yeah, more forgiving. And the book doesn't shy away from pointing out those human things that, those patterns that trip us up.
Like that story about Frank and Ernest going deer hunting.
Oh, yeah.
Ernest misses this perfect shot and then comes up with this crazy excuse about how he was letting the deer tire itself out.
It's so funny because it's so true.
We've all been there, right? Trying to justify our actions even when we know we're not being totally honest.
Totally. And this book, it reminds us that self-deception, it might feel good in the moment, but it keeps us from growing.
Yeah, it's about being honest with ourselves and recognizing that when we're making excuses, it's usually because we're afraid of something.
And that fear, it can show up in so many ways. Clinging to ego, resisting change, not wanting to let go of control.
There's this one line that really hit me. You've got to walk those 7 valleys by yourself.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's about the spiritual path being this solo journey, but also we find strength when we face those challenges.
And the book describes those valleys, right? The valley of love, the valley of understanding.
Each one represents a different stage.
Yeah, like a map for the soul.
I like that. And the Angel Songbook, it doesn't just offer guidance, it asks some tough questions like, who is the devil's bounty? What do you think that means?
It makes you think, right? What are we holding on to that might actually be holding us back?
The things we think we need but actually don't.
maybe.
So this deep dive, it's like a choose your own adventure for the soul. Angels, human flaws, mystical stuff, transformation, it's a lot.
But the Angel Songbook, it's more than just stories and songs. It also offers practical guidance,
Mhm.
exercises and techniques for, becoming more aware, more present.
So it's not just theory, it's practical too.
Exactly. That's what makes this deep dive so interesting, right? It's not just about learning stuff. It's about actually using it to change your life.
It's like planting seeds of wisdom.
And then hopefully they grow into something amazing.
What seeds have been planted for you during this deep dive? What new ideas are you taking away?
Because this is just the beginning, right? The Angel Songbook has so much to offer. We've just scratched the surface.
This deep dive has opened the door. Now it's up to you to walk through it.
Exactly. And see where it leads.
This book, the Angel Songbook, it feels like it's saying, hey, you have the power to write your own story, even when things get a little, messy.
Right, and the journey itself is just as important as where you end up.
It's not about being perfect. It's about embracing all of it.
The ups and downs, the good and the bad.
It's like the book is saying life's a dance. Sometimes you're soaring, sometimes you trip, but just keep moving.
Keep learning. And remember, you don't have to dance alone.
There's always help available. Sometimes it's a book, a story, a song,
Something that sparks your imagination.
and maybe makes you see the world and yourself in a new way.
It's been a really fascinating deep dive exploring all these ideas, angels, humor, self-discovery. There's
Yeah.
a lot to unpack.
It is, but it's so interesting, right? So what are you taking away from this? What really resonated with you?
Remember, the Angel Songbook, it's just one perspective.
Yeah.
Keep exploring. Keep asking questions.
Find what speaks to you, what feels true.
Maybe you'll start to hear those whispers of guidance, even in the most unexpected places.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring. Keep those angel wings flapping.